Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Motorgraph World channel. My name's Marie. Today I'm here at the newly launched Kia EV3. Let's take a look at the designs and what new features they have for this compact SUV. Because it's a completely new model, the EV3 kind of looks a little bit like its brothers in the lineup. So not so much the EV6, but I see kind of some cues from the EV9. It's a complete compact version. They're opening up a new segment with their EV lineup. So if you look at the face, it's kind of like a block car. So it's a bit more of the proportions on the bottom. You have these headlamps and the daylight running lamps, as well as the big bumper. It doesn't really look like a low-class EV. If you think about the overall size, it's almost comparable to a Niro. However, it's actually smaller than a Niro. It doesn't look that much smaller because of the proportions. If you look at the side designs, it's also quite streamlined. And I do like the fact that they have used this kind of color for the GT line. You also have this kind of arch design that is prominent over the wheel. The wheel itself is 19 inches. It doesn't look like it's 19 inches. I thought that it was actually 20 or 21 because of the overall size of the car and the proportions. You do have this kind of design that makes the wheel even look bigger. And now if you move over the fly line, it kind of looks as if they wanted to have that floating roof design. Although it's a small car, they've extended the roof line as well as the fly line up until the very end so that you don't have that slanting roof, and it makes the car look even smaller. As for the handles or the door handles, here you have the flush design where it's hidden, but on the second passenger seat, it's actually even more hidden, kind of like the Veloster where you have it in the side here. So you have that door handle next to the window. I actually like the back design of this car. It's quite minimal, but it also looks quite sporty as well. So the roof extends all the way back to this end. However, if you look at the actual backside window, it's quite slanted. However, from the profile, it gives the illusion that the overall roof is extended up until here. And here you have the prominent back part of the car, making it look a little bit more plump and voluptuous at the back. So I've popped open the trunk. Compared to some of the larger SUVs that we're used to, you'll see that the trunk size is not that big. However, still you do have a lot of space inside, considering that it's a compact SUV. Because the car comes up to a certain height, it starts with a higher height and it ends with a lower height as well. So you do have a little bit of a limited trunk space, but if you actually make use of the second row seats, if you fold them down, then you'll be able to have an extended trunk. So I've actually folded up one seat of the second row seat. So if you actually fold up the seats, you do get quite a deeper trunk. And one thing that you might consider a little bit inconvenient is that there is no latch or button to fold the second row seats from the trunk. So if you look at the bottom compartment, it's actually almost a big layer inside. You'll probably have your tools inside, but at the moment there's nothing. But if you actually take this apart, then you have a deeper trunk. So we've opened up the bonnet and it's quite clean. I like it because it actually covers all of the parts, and you have quite a spacious frunk. It's a bit deeper, and I think that you could probably store sneakers, your gym clothes inside, along with some of the cables or wires that you need inside the car. It seems more spacious, and I think it's because they've pushed back this center console a little bit back, kind of like how the Ioniq 5 has done it. But I don't think that this is also a floating one that goes back and forth, except you do have a lot of this space. They've also used a combination of different materials. Right here you also have the fabric that's been covered, and I think that this makes it look a bit more cozier. And then you also have the mixture of the metallic as well as just the plain matte plastic. And the center, you see this big screen. They are 12.3-inch screens merged together. But here in the middle, you have this touch screen for the HVAC. And I think that this is also one of the elements that has been taken from the EV9. And also this lever for the gear, which is also the one that was seen on the EV9 as well. Steering wheel is angled, and even with the dashboard as well, some of the elements are lowered down, and the corners, you don't have that much going on because you want the driver to see everything. So the seats are quite slim, however, it's quite comfortable. It provides a lot of support, lumbar support. This size or this segment is something that is an entry model, and it has to provide comfort and space for the drivers. I think that that's actually what it's doing. So as for storage, you have the lower part of the center console. You have two cup holders down here. This one, it doesn't push back and forth as a whole. However, we found that this actually pulls out so that you can use this kind of like a tabletop. So this is actually made, I think, to provide a bit more space so that people can put their laptops on it, or if you want to grab a light lunch, then you can actually have these bento boxes or sandwich lunch boxes while you're waiting for the charging to be completed. So this can be used like a table, like a small table when you're inside the car. You see the mixture of fabrics here on the back of the seat as well. So this is what you saw on the front row. And then you have the plastic. You also have the mixture of materials on the door trim. And also you can see that this GT line model is a two-tone version inside the car. The seats on the second row seats are quite comfortable, actually. It has a lot of cushion. And the seating area doesn't have that huge distinction because it looks as if it's just one. And so if you're sitting in the center seat, it's actually quite comfortable as well. Then you don't have that center tunnel, so you have a lot of space for your feet. You have the center armrest with the two cup holders. And then if you look at the center console, then you have the HVAC controls, and you have a little bit of storage room here at the back. You also have the charging ports on both sides of the two seats in front. You do have a sunroof, and it's quite limited just for the first row. However, the fact that you actually have a sunroof here is actually also a plus. So this is the Kia EV3 standard model. There will be certain design cues that are a little bit different from the GT line, but the overall face and the general aesthetic are similar. For the long-range models, the EV3 can provide up to 500 kilometers for the entire range. So I think that that would be a very competitive feature. Of course, it's officially in Korea. So that was our first view of the Kia EV3. Tell us what you think about the model, and as for how it drives on the road, we'll see that during our test drive. I'll see you next time.